welcome to our second Lyceum of 2024. We were very lucky to have Alex Gondola introduce us last month on the history and the beginnings of the Lyceum. And I took a little note from his presentation. I have a slide that talks briefly about the Lyceum in Greece. And so we'll start with that. So this is just a view of what place. Does anybody recognize that building? Parthenon, right. So let's take a tour. Let's start this program. We were very happy to be with Wendy Hunt, who is president of the National Chamber of Commerce, and she moved from the Amherst one to Nashua. And we had 3 buses, so I think we had 3 buses of about 45 people each. But we operated independently, so we just got on and we went. We had marvelous guides. We have Armati and Nat, what was the other name? Susan, where are you? Oh, she's in the kitchen. All right, we'll pick it up here. So we found that the chamber tours are very economical compared to Rick Steves or other ones. And we also traveled to China for 10 or 12 days with the same group of people. Probably 50% of the people were our friends from the previous tour 2 years later. So let's begin our trip. So Alex talked last month about the Lyceum in Greece. So the Lyceum of Aristotle, it was founded in approximately 335 BCE on the grounds of the gymnasium in the area of Greece. And the gymnasium were places where young men would typically come and exercise and prepare to be physically fit and work out. And then after some time, the center of spiritual exercise was exercised as well. And because you know a healthy mind is a healthy body. So this is the site of the Lyceum of Aristotle, which is in the Athens area. Now we flew into Athens from Boston, and you can see here how it's down on the southern tip. And then we proceeded with another 2-night, 3-day trip down to Santorini, which is about a 45-minute flight out of Athens. So we decided to park our car down at the Woburn bus station, which is a good alternative if you're traveling. And then we took the bus in from Woburn, and on the return trip, we came back to Woburn and then drove home. And it was just a lot easier than parking, getting into the city. Lufthansa was our friendly airline, and we enjoyed the flight. I can't remember how many hours it was, but if anybody's if you've flown to Europe or Asia, I know when I went to Asia, it was 24 hours door to door from my house to the hotel. So I think here it was probably 16 hours or so.
Took us to Frankfurt.
Frankfurt to Athens. Welcome to Athens.
In English.
In English. In English. And everything was in English and Greek. And the Greek looked more like an alphabet. It didn't look like a sentence or a word. So here's our group composed of the National Chamber. And we know probably a third of these people from a previous trip. This was taken about 2/3 of the way into the trip. So from the airline in Athens, we were taken by bus down to the Kaneda Beach Resort and Spa that's on the edge of the Aegean Sea. And there's many buildings here. We were in some of these in this area here. Here's the shoreline of the sea, and we had a wonderful time. All of our food was an open buffet. You could eat and drink as much as you wanted, which we did every night, just about. And wonderful food, Greek food. Susan's standing on the walkway to our place of rest.
Nice picture.
That's when you pull into the place, that's the first thing you see at the Kaneda Beach Club and Resort. Also, just a little ways up from here was a little store. I can't remember the name. of this little store. You go in there, you get your postcards, your stamps, you get your ouzo, you get whatever you need, and bottled water. And the son of the owners was a guard in the military, and we'll be showing you that later. That's a look at our little apartment. That's one of the several pools. That's a walk from our place of rest to where we entered and either departed for the bus or had breakfast. And there's another buffet that we ate at that I don't have a picture of the buffet area. What do you think?
Beautiful.
You have to bring a bathing suit.
So here's the front desk as you enter. Now, has anybody seen these symbols here before? What do you call it?
Evil eye.
The evil eye, right? So do you know what the evil eye is? Well, let's go find out. The evil eye, or Madi, believed to be a curse that is given by a glare that has negative intentions. A negative emotion can cause the evil eye curse, such as anger, jealousy, other things. It's believed that the curse itself causes bad things to happen every day. And the person who has received the curse will have such things as headaches and even a string of bad luck. So wearing an evil eye charm prevents the curse from happening to you if someone has put a curse on you or if danger is close. So you'll see people wearing these around their neck, little keychains. You can buy them for a couple of dollars. And the Greek people keep the glass charm everywhere in their home, car, workplace. And of course, we bought several of them. Because we didn't want any harm to come to us, right?
When you get home.
That's right.
Oh,
So
nice.
here we are on the edge of the Aegean Sea at the Canetta Beach Club and Spa. There's Susan walking away toward the little pier that I swam off of. It's not really tidal, but there was some wind that caused a few waves. Now, Joe Razik was supposed to be here. He's my good friend, a previous eye doctor in town. Some of you may know Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Joe and I and Susan had a great time, and of course, we spent some time in the water, as we all should, right, in the Aegean Sea. And
Looks like you can see through it.
yeah, it was very clear. The stones, it wasn't a sandy beach, it was very rocky. So I had little water shoes on, which really helped. That's the one of the nights looking up over across the ocean, the Aegean Sea, from the Canetta Beach Club at night.
Were you the only people there?
Well, we probably had over 100 people on tour, and we met many other people there.
It always
And there
looks
was-
so,
And there was a bunch of college kids there too from all over Europe. And they partied all night long, as you can imagine. But they kept quiet. They didn't bother us, you know,
And they're drinking ouzo.
because we had ouzo. That's what So everywhere I go, I have to take pictures of food, right? So here you got grape leaves, you got feta cheese, you got olives, you got chickpeas, you got lots of things. So this is just a small portion of the choices you have. And of course, also you get the equivalent of a small little codfish. I can't remember the Greek name, so one night I just said, yeah, let's have the whole fish. And you just fillet it, take it apart at your plate, and eat the beautiful white meat with the spices and olive oil that's there. This is our guide, Nellie, and she was so informative. She knew all the Greek history, goddesses, gods. She knew about how people grow up, what happens when they get old. We found out that a lot of the homes in Greece or Athens are built out of stone or cement because there is no wood. So they have a 1- or 2-story home for the family. When the parents get aged, they build a 3rd floor onto the house. And then the grandparents move into the 1st floor, and everybody moves up. And So that's how they do it. That's part of their family culture tradition. So one of our first stops was at the Acropolis and slopes. And the Acropolis of Athens is an ancient citadel located on a rocky outcrop above the city of Athens. And there are four main structures that are still standing. The Parthenon, which most of you know about, the Temple of Athena Nike, and I'm not sure how to pronounce the last two. I've tried several times, but we'll see pictures of those structures as we go along. So the Parthenon, there's a lot of restoration work being done. I think that is Susan right here. That's her walking up there. So we spent probably an hour or two there. Yeah? Oh, very much.
Stars of the show.
Yours truly. And this is the second structure.
That
Yeah.
was built for Athena.
This is built for Athena. You can see these four statues here that are part of the structures. The Temple of Athena Nike. When you have a guide, things are so clear to repeat, you know, in the first few hours. After a year and a quarter, it's hard to remember all the details.
And I think that olive tree has always been there.
Right. So the olive tree is a symbol. Let's see here. It's a tradition to pass the olive tree down through the families and generations for your properties. And this is our third place. And everywhere we went in Greece, we're going up steps, hundreds of steps.
So everybody knows about the Parthenon, but I don't know anything about that. I don't know if other people know about it. What's the function, what was that building built for?
I should have looked that up. It would have been a good thing to do.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
I'll do an email out. All right? So we also found that the different locations we went, whether it's Delphi or Corinth or other places in the Athens and greater area, there are all these little amphitheaters. This is a small one here that's part of the Acropolis. And I don't know, it probably seats a couple thousand people. Here's my good friend Joe Razik again, which I was hoping he'd be here tonight.
And that's the city of Athens, and all day long they look up at the Parthenon, go to work.
Wow.
I've got a picture that shows Susan and I having lunch with our group, and as we're walking in the downtown area where the museum is, you can see the Parthenon in the background up on the hill. So this is the bare marble hill across from the entrance to the Acropolis, ancient marble steps that are worn very smooth. Near the base of the stairs is a bronze plaque with a Greek text of Paul's sermon, which many of you probably have heard that he spoke from this hill. And here's a better picture of it. You don't see any wood structures, do you? So this is the front facade of the monument for the unknown soldier. There's also a small video we have of the changing of the guard. And that's where the son of the little shop owner was actually one of these guards. And it's a mandatory commitment they make at a certain age. You enter the service for a couple of years. This is a picture of the larger front. You have two guards, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right and left. You've seen Buckingham Palace, some of you, so this is kind of reminiscent of that.
Check out those pom-poms.
So this is about 4 minutes here. Enjoy. This is a process of changing the guard.
And the fellow on the other side is doing the same thing.
They're all young men, right?
It helps.
Good one, mine is shoe.
They grew up.
They are.
Looking at the writing on the walls, do you recognize any of those Greek words? Yeah. goes on and on. It's a little hard to watch, but it's harder to hold a camera for 15 minutes.
Did you take the picture?
Oh, yeah. So, moving on, we're at the Archaeological Museum. No, we're at the Academy of Athens here. And I took several thousand pictures, but this is the pillar, and this is Apollo at the Academy of Athens. And Athena at the Academy of Athens.
She's in charge.
She's in charge, that's correct.
Spirit.
So if you've traveled with us, we always have shadow pictures. It might be 2 of us, it might be 20 of us, but we always get it in. So this is in Athens, and that's at the beach at the Canetta Beach Club. As that is the same picture, I think, that you saw before of the sunset. All right, then you go on to the museum in Corinth. And the Archaeological Museum in ancient Corinth. It's got many pottery and plates and other articles that they made during their time, including large mosaic stone panels and beads. And this was interesting. I had to look this up because I didn't remember, but there was an early medical school in Corinth. So part of their study and presentation was they had models of different arms and legs and ankles and fingers and things like that that were used during the studying of the human body in its form. And these are some of the stone structures around the museum in ancient Corinth.
It's a marketplace. It was a marketplace.
Okay, so it was a marketplace. And a lot of this, the cellars and stone foundations are there, but a lot of the other buildings are just gone. There's stacks of stones and rubble everywhere you look in Greece.
No one's cleaned it up.
They've been cleaning for years. So everybody's been near the Corinth Canal. I think Stan and Laura, were you there before? So our tour group was told that we would be actually boating down the Corinth Canal. And when we got there, we found out it's been closed to traffic for some time. It was built, it connects the Ionian Sea with the Aegean Sea, and it cuts through a narrow isthmus. It's about 4 miles in length and about 81 feet wide, and which makes it impassable for many modern ships. But in the day, there were some simple ships that did make that journey. It was a concept originated with in Corinth in the 7th century BC, and the construction began under Roman Empire Nero in 67 AD. Construction finally restarted in 1881. It was completed in 1893, which isn't that long ago when you think of it. But due to the canal's narrowness, navigational problems, and other issues, it failed to reach any useful use. The canal was damaged by the German army in World War II, and several sections were totally caved in and fell into the water of the canal. It was reopened and restored in 1947 and opened for shallow traffic in 1948. And it's no longer used, but it's quite, it's a long, narrow, very pretty canal and bridge. And again, in the past, you could actually take a boat between the two seas, which would be about a 4-mile trip.
Had to move a lot of rock.
So when we're out and about, you might stop the bus, have a little place to get a Coca-Cola or a little ouzo. And this place here, we sat down, and we had ouzo with a little ice, a little water, and then we served this delicate snack of sardines, oysters, and squid, and tomatoes, and maybe a cucumber, which I'm sure all of you would probably enjoy as much as I would. In fact, I was able to receive the plates from many of my visitors, and I enjoyed them. Thank you very much. So we proceeded again. That's the Tappan Citadel, the Lion's Gate, and the Cyclopean Walls, and the Beehive Tomb entrance, and then the Beehive Tomb. So here we went through the Lion's Gate.
Can you see the lions? You can look back. You can see.
Yeah, up at the very top. You see the top center, the two lions that are looking toward each other?
But the head looks missing.
So that's looking into it, and that's the grounds. You can see a lot of the foundations are there, but all the buildings are toppled and gone. And there's piles of rubble where they may start to reassemble them, but it's like a big puzzle.
I know that Mycenae is at least 1,000 years older than Athens.
Yeah, it's amazing. And everywhere we went, we walked uphill on rocks and pebbles and snow. When you get to the top of that outside museum, you look out over the countryside in Greece. And I talked about the Beehive Tomb entrance. I got ahead of myself. So you go through the Lion's Gate, you climb up some hills, look around the city, and then you come back and you enter into the Beehive Tomb entrance. And you don't think it's very much when you're there, but when you get inside, you're in a round, cylindrical, domed building of sorts. And it probably was 35 feet tall. And when you talked in there, it kind of echoed, as you can imagine.
I think, wasn't it underground too?
Yes, it's totally underground. So when you come in here, you're actually, the Beehive Tomb area is under that grassy top.
So it's a tomb?
Yes.
Are there the bodies behind these stones? Or what?
No, as far as we know, they were in this area. We didn't see any pictures, or nothing was described to us about that. But. And this is the port town of Nafplion, N-A-F-P-L-I-O-N. We took a bus tour there. We walked around the city streets. And there's a fort at the top up here.
And to make note, all their buildings had porches, piazzas, I don't know what you call them, but everybody, they have to be outside all the time. And you frequently see laundry on racks outside. That's what they do. And it's really,
So they really,
great. They want the outside in, they're not, they like the outside.
That's downtown at the port side, where they have small ships and stuff. Then we were very fortunate to take a tour of the Melez olive oil farm, a woman-owned farm. And she met us outside and gave us a history of the olive farm. And then we were brought inside where we were given a talk about the chemistry of olive oil and the 4 different grades that they get from the olives and press it. So the first batch, the first picking, gives you the best extra virgin olive oil. And as the year progresses, you end up with something that's less quality. And I think you can almost see the difference in color here. And we learned that when olive oil is packaged, that you want to package it in a non-clear bottle. You want to keep the temperature at a certain range. You want to keep the air to a minimum. So as you use it, you should decant it into another container. And it's supposed to, you want to know where it came from and how old it is. So when you go to the store, a lot of us buy olive oil in a plastic bottle, which is, from a Greek standpoint, you never do that over there. You can never see olive oil in a plastic bottle. When you buy olive oil over there, you know how old it is, you know it was picked, when it was pressed, you know what location location it came from, who handled it, who distributed it, the whole thing. They treat it like a very valuable food, where here it's a commodity. You go to the store, how many different brands of olive oil are there? You look at the back and tell me when it was bottled or when it was pressed. You won't find any of that information. You may find it in a nice store that specializes in that kind of food, though. And as part of that tour, we also got a little shot glass of olive oil. And they pass it out and they say, "Oh, ready." I don't know if you've ever had a little shot glass of olive oil. Liz, I don't think you've done that, I guess, from the look on your face. But it's got a very different taste, a little peppery. It's really magical, you know? Now this is the amphitheater of Epidaurus. And we were there for probably an hour or so. I actually got lost trying to find a restroom. And the bus waited for me, thank goodness. I went off into the woods thinking I was going back. But this amphitheater seats around 14,000 people.
Wow.
So I went up at least 2 times, maybe 3. Then we had one of our people, I'm not sure if it was our guide or not, standing down at the very bottom, talking, and we could hear the person talking, of course, because the sound was just magical.
And how did they know that? They're just smart.
Yes, sir.
It was very windy.
Then onward, you go over to the Delphi Museum. We're going to see serpentine columns, the oracle ruins, the amphitheater, ancient writings on the wall, and inside the museum we'll see bronze chariot statues, marble twins, column of dancers, sphinx, and wall art. Just a fabulous place. Here's a model of what the location looked like in the ancient days. Now this column here, the spiral column, isn't actually a replica. The original is someplace else in the world. Somebody came in and borrowed it permanently. As you know, a lot of ancient places around the world, different art and stuff is not where it used to be. It's been taken for private use someplace.
Probably the British.
Again, you see pieces and parts of buildings and sculptures and columns everywhere you go. Now, I think at one place here there were stacked up these pieces of rock with numbers on them. So there is a plan to piece this back together again. We look the same in every picture, don't we?
Full of energy.
It's really just a backdrop, you know? And here's another mini amphitheater in that area. So they're all over the place. They're at the Acropolis, they're over in the Delphi area, they're all over. And they must have given little performances and shows, you know. Here is writings on the wall. I'm not sure, I don't have a picture of the wall, a large picture, but you can see the Greek letters that are carved into the stone. And it was probably 10 feet high and 20 feet long, with nothing but carved characters. And we found out from our guide, too, that when they write like this, they do not put spaces between the words. Everything is just right after one character after another.
And that's what he had a folk fee.
And this is the charioteer statue.
Is it a chariot? Charioteer?
These are the in the Delphi Museum, the marble twins, life size. And this is the base of the column of dancers. So if you see this, there's another column of dancers. These dancers are on top of that piece. And there's different sections all over the museum. This is called the Naxian Sphinx, N-A-X-I-A-N Sphinx. So it's probably 8 to 10 feet tall.
Egyptian?
And a lot of the doorways and tops of monuments, indoors and outdoors, have these little wall art or toppings. I'm not sure what they call them, but they, like ancient bling, they call it. And then the museum also had lots of these 100% gold, 24 karat gold adornments for either helmets or just headdresses. This was taken in the town of Arachova. And that's our tour group again at that location. This is the town of Arachova. We're going to see balconies, water heaters, storage, archways, and churches. So Susan was talking about the balconies. Everybody had a balcony. This is downtown, so you've got a little hotel with your little private balcony outside. Now this was curious. When I got home I had to look this up, but every residential place, every business had one of these for every little building. Let's say what you have is a hot water collector from the sun here, and somehow it gets the water up into the cylinder. So every residence, every home, every business had at least one or two or three of these. And I looked into getting one in New Hampshire. We don't have the right climate. I don't think the church, Rick, probably could use one of these either. But maybe, huh? One of the local churches.
No trees.
Yeah, no trees, no wood, no trees. Now this is really cool. We're walking in downtown Arachova, and we're crossing this little bridge. And under the bridge are all these little locked doors, probably for storage, rental, we're not really sure. It was really quite attractive. Now this is another exciting place. This is the ancient site of the ancient Olympians, or common ground for the Olympics. And you may have heard of Hera's flame, an ancient Olympia site. So they had a flame that was burning. And again, a lot of buildings are demolished, and just the foundation, foots are there.
It's the original Olympics.
Yes, the original Olympics, not modern day Olympics. In fact, there's ancient, modern, and then real modern. Right? So this is the ancient or original ones. This is an archway leading to that open grounds where that was handled. This is the other side of the archway. And this is about a 1,400-foot section where the original Olympics were held.
The track.
A track, thank you. So yours truly put down his cameras in his bag, and I went running at my pace down, across, and all the way back to where Susan was. And I found out later she did walk it, but I had to run it, of course, right? Well, it took me a while, but I did not have any competition. So that's me coming back, and I was tired. But I ran the Olympics. I was in the Olympics.
How come you didn't wear a tracksuit?
Well, I found out later that they didn't have clothing at that time. When you competed, you didn't have clothing because you had to make sure, they had to verify you were a man. All right? So it was very obvious. They said, please keep your clothes on. So this is the site of the Museum of Olympia here.
So Karl, were they afraid that the women would beat the men?
I'm not sure. Probably it's something about the evil eye, too.
That was like a lot of stuff.
What did they call those?
I have that here.
Take your suitcase from home.
That's at the Archaeological Museum of Olympia, votives made and left for the gods.
People
So-
make them and give them to the gods.
So there are hundreds of these that were displayed in little glass cases. And you just wanted to have one to bring home, you know?
What they made of?
Ceramic, they were stone or fired, I think, right? And cauldrons for cooking in. And then there was a myriad of these brass and copper helmets. Probably 50 of them or 100 of them.
And it was just decoration thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not used in combat or anything, it was just decorations. And again, here's one of those carvings, what they call the bling, ancient bling, that was over the top of buildings and archways and doorways. Same thing here. Looks like we're back to the Canada Beach Club and Resort, time for dinner again.
And a glass of booze, though.
Then we went to downtown Athens to the Acropolis Museum, and there were glass panels right here that showed the original digs, showing more of the ancient Athens stonework and buildings that were actually underground at this point. Beautiful building. So you look down at these big openings or through glass panels, you can see some of the ancient stonework and foundations. That's the entryway coming down into the museum main floor. Now, when you're downtown Athens, walking around, having lunch, trying to find a coffee or tea, you turn around and you see the Parthenon up on the hill, the Acropolis, which had those four main buildings. So it just is amazing that it's there, but it was built on a hill for a reason, right? To be the center of town, to be seen and worked with. And this is the sacred owl. Athena created this as a symbol of goodness, and it was dedicated to the city of Athens. I just can't imagine sitting and carving this out of stone.
That's a model of.
That's a model of one of the original ones. Thank you. That's a fragment of one of them. Again, that's a model of the Acropolis and other areas, the Parthenon. Again, this is inside the museum again. And this is the marble, or I should say the modern first Olympic site in Athens. So you saw the original outdoor one, and this is what they call the marble stadium of the first modern Olympics in Athens. This is part of our tour group. We had lunch. Remember, we were downtown walking around. You could see the Parthenon up on top, part of the Acropolis. So we're sitting here waiting for our chicken dinner. And we ran into this couple here, husband and wife with two twin daughters. And they had so much fun. It was so much fun to see that family enjoying all the different parts of the trip. So this is lunch in Athens with the music, B-O-U-S-O-U-K-I. How do you say that? Baduki, all right. So now it's time to leave Athens and fly to Santorini, about a 45-minute flight. We got on the plane, no trouble, took off, no problem. Upon trying to land, the plane was going like this. And we had a pilot on board from, I don't know if it was Eastern Airlines or some other And I said to him, I said, what happened? Because we aborted the landing, off we went, boom, full power of the engines, and off we go. And the plane was shaking like that, and I said, what happened? He goes, I think it's called when the airplane is floating, and you can't get it down through the air because of the high winds and other things. So we went around, 45 minutes later, we come in for the second attempt. We're all holding on to our armchairs, remember? And he puts it down hard, and he gets a round of applause, which he was due, don't you think? And because we heard the previous day they made several attempts, and they went back to Athens. So we were lucky in a way that this extended 2 nights, 3 nights, 3 days and 2 nights was actually happened for us.
Did you get extra Uzo for that?
Yes. The airport, of course. And we got bussed over to the El Greco, which is a little resort right on the Aegean Sea. You could fall off the wall across the street into the sea. That's our little apartment, our lounge we had. Wonderful. That's just a very small little quaint place, right? It was cool, but very windy. But once you got up the stairs and came down, this was kind of like down in like a valley of the building. So the building was built up on it, and then you went down a bunch of 100 steps down to this area. So there was much less wind. But some people come here and all they do is stay at these places. They don't go touring, you know? That's at night. I wanted to run down there at night and jump in. That's looking the street across from the El Greco, looking at a caldera, which, if you know, is like a volcanic caldera. Yeah. And so it's a sunken volcano pit. And you can see the black portions of the volcanic rock that are left over from the caldera. Beautiful setting. That's the same, it's along the same coast.
Oh, you can't see the buildings.
No, it's so quiet. The picture is probably a little overexposed, but
They're very level.
and there's absolutely no wood on Santorini. Everything that's built out of wood has to be brought in from someplace else. There's no manufacturing in Greece. No cars are made there. No trucks. Everything is brought in. There's no heavy machinery or manufacturing in Greece.
They're a lot less broke than they used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to figure it out.
I can't tell you how windy it was. It was unbelievable. They stopped all.
What time of year was
They got
this?
in boats, you couldn't go on the tram.
This is, what year was this? Was
Like that all the time.
No, we just happened to be there in February.
what year was that? 2018. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I was thinking of another
What was
trip.
the
This was in late
It was
March.
It was on
And
the
coming back the first week of April of 2023. So just about a year ago.
Spring.
So this is the same place where the caldera, the volcanic area is.
That's beautiful.
That was the sunset, actually. I couldn't capture. It was gorgeous.
Now, Armani was a guide, a second or third guide. She again knew all the history of Santorini. She actually lived in the area we were walking that day. Her home was in this area here. Everything is white, everything is stone, everything has some blue painted domes. And this was, they were preparing for Easter at this time too. So there were areas we couldn't get into because they were painted and the paint was still wet, white, brand new paint. The pictures don't do justice, you know, it's hard to get the perfect picture. And then we found this little donkey bringing supplies in for painting and getting ready for Easter. Everything in this community has to be brought in either by hand, or carts, or mules.
So there's no way to drive a car.
Not up in this area, no. Now what's interesting, as you walk from the parking lot where the buses dropped us up into the market, this long street, it was probably a mile long at least, we're walking beside houses, and then you turn a corner, you're actually walking on the ceiling of another home. Then you turn the corner, and then you're outside a little bit, then you're walking through a tunnel or a little passageway, then you're on top of another set of houses that's up another level. So everything is all connected together. It's really amazing. This is looking out from the top at the Aegean Sea. There's our twin girls we kept track of. They were so much fun to see. Has anybody that's got twins or daughters together like that?
So they're speaking, are they able to speak?
Oh yeah, they're actually, their mother owns a pizza parlor up in the middle of New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yeah, they were with our group, so. That was the highest point of Santorini.
Yep.
Some steps there.
There's a little airport here.
It looks like snow, but it's
Then, much to our surprise, we ended up having a tour of a little winery. And if somebody would like to pronounce that, more than willing to do that. G.Kout, etc.
So you're not going
Now, what do you think those plants are? What do you think? That's the same thing. That is a grapevine. So the bushes don't grow tall and wide. They actually take the branches and they wind them around and weave them together. Then they have a little white rock near every one that absorbs water during the night. And then in the early morning, the water comes back out of the rock and goes into the ground, like a pumice.
wow.
So you see fields of these, and they're not like grapevines or bushes. They're these little woven. Yeah, exactly.
But you'd have to stoop down to pick the grapes.
So this is inside the wine museum where we had a tasting. And I think they were all white wines too, I'm pretty sure. These girls had never had wine before. But when you're in Greece with your parents on a trip, that's when you have it, right? I'm not sure they liked it, but they were really thrilled to be part of this, you know? Then for lunch, we stopped at the Aquarius on the Aegean Sea again. Right by the ocean. And of course, I'm all about taking pictures of food, right? So here's part of my little lunch, 4 little crustaceans, right?
So tell us what that is.
That's like, it's almost like a shrimp.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Looks like prawns.
Crayfish?
Like prawns almost, yeah.
Yeah.
I had these in China and they were like air fried, and you eat the whole thing. Here, these aren't, you just eat the non-head part, you know, just the body.
Is that like a spicy tomato
sauce.
thing?
Yeah, yeah, it's a sauce, yeah.
Is it made for tomato? Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but it was very good. And that's, I think those are little shrimp too, and this little salad and little rice. This is what I call the money shot, right? You know, when you see a postcard or you see something from Santorini, you go, oh, that's it, I want to go there, right? So that's my money shot. So we walked probably a mile plus through these little outside hallways, through little arches, turn a corner, up some steps, down some steps, out to the ocean, back, forth. And of course, the little shops you could buy stuff in. I wanted to buy so much, but I didn't buy anything. Just every place you turned, it was just, you'd stand there and just look. Susan can describe this maybe here.
So they have this offer, and those twins did this. They bought a pass or something, and this company takes you to a photogenic place, and they give you this fabric to put on. And then the pictures were just so beautiful. The women would they have a fan blowing, so all this fabric is blowing along.
Yeah.
And we had several people in our group did that. They had the pictures taken.
Yeah, it's not a dress or a gown, it's just a wrap.
Yards and yards.
And the wind is blowing, they have fans going, and you're right on the ocean, you're looking out over all the white buildings and the blue domes, and you got the ocean out there. It's just beautiful. You just want to stay there, you know?
But it was fun to watch.
Same blue domes, same blue
Yeah.
domes.
There's a little island there with a little, I'm not sure what it is, down a little house or something. I can't remember this gentleman's name, maybe you remember. He was a real estate agent, so we saw this mirror about 15 feet away, and I'm taking a picture, and then Ken steps in behind me, and Susan steps in behind him. I said, that's a great shot. So every morning at the Canada Beach Club, he's got his Microsoft Surface Pro popped up, he's drinking orange juice, probably no Ouzo that early, and he's doing real estate stuff. Like this, that could be you over there. Looking at Deal, right? In Santorini. He's saying, I got to do this work, I got to get this quote back. Like I said, there's no wood, no structures. There's a second money shot.
And people that live there, they have no cars, so if they get their groceries, they have to walk. You know, there's a parking lot, and if you get new furniture, it has to be carried in.
Wow.
Well, the food must be fresh because you have to go get it every day.
The buffets we had and the restaurants we had were all Greek foods. A couple different kinds of feta, you had fresh seafood, you had vegetables, you had all kinds of meat and
And you can't
potatoes.
drink the water, nobody drinks the water.
No, you drink, yeah, you drink, whatever you drink is bottled. All right? Like a lot of places in the world, when you travel, so it's bottled
Even the
water.
residents can't drink.
So that's my second money shot there. This is again another sunset.
Nice.
Love that one.
It's like liquid gold.
That's looking at the volcanic island. So we're just about wrapped up. I think we're almost ready to fly home. Boom, Lyceums, May, June. So
Yeah,
don't
next.
forget, Dave Nelson will be presenting Treasure in a Cornfield, the steamboat Arabia. How do you say that? Arabia.
Steamboat Arabia.
That is marvelous. I've seen a YouTube and a Channel 2 PBS program on this. It is unparalleled in what you're going to see. And then we have Charlie Annan. I don't know if Marcia Nelson and Charlie are going to present the program on the Hutchinson Family Memorial Project, which has been continuing and being worked on for the last couple of years. And then after, I think, July, Carol, we have nothing in July? Is
No
that true?
July, no August.
No, August, and we'll continue after that.
Yeah.
So I'll be continuing with the emails. So that's our program. I hope you enjoyed that.